afternoon. You're watching the English newscast here on Future Television. I'm Linda Tamima, and these are today's top stories. Beirut Mayor Jamal Aitani says work is underway to start removing trash which has piled up on the streets for days following a strike by Suclean workers. Thousands of volunteers take part in a cleanup campaign along the Litani River in an effort to help depollute the river. And tension is high in the Iraqi town of Bashika near Mosul as Peshmerga soldiers from Iraq's Kurdistan regional government begin an offensive to recapture it. Beirut Mayor Jamal Aitani says work has begun to start removing trash which has piled up on the streets for days following a strike by Suclean workers. Employees of waste contractor Suclean and its sister company Sukomi began their open-ended strike at midnight on Wednesday, calling on the companies to give them assurances that they will not lose their jobs or be denied compensation when new contractors take over waste management contracts in the next few months. Workers blocked access to the Amrusiye and Karantina sorting plants, closed down offices and stopped collecting garbage. Aitani said he was surprised by the workers' decision to go on strike, calling on the waste contractors to immediately start treating the situation by adhering to an agreement between them and the Council for Development and Reconstruction in collecting Beirut's garbage. Thousands of volunteers took part in a cleanup campaign along the Litani River in an effort to help depollute the river, which has witnessed several years of neglect and environmental damage. The National Campaign for the Protection of the Litani River Basin brought in volunteers to participate in the massive cleanup process in Lebanon's eastern Bekaa Valley and the south, regions which the 140-kilometer Litani runs through. Various organizations, municipalities and schools participated in the event, which was announced by Prime Minister Tamam Slam at the end of September. Agriculture Minister Akram Shayib announced that around 15 unlicensed quarries were contributing to pollution in Lebanon's longest river. Parliament Speaker Nabih Berri has told MP Michel Aoun that he had the ability to block his election as president by preventing a quorum from being achieved in Parliament, but he will not do so. Berri was speaking to reporters from Geneva. Aoun headed to Berri's Ain Atina residence in Beirut on Thursday, shortly after Future Movement leader Saad Hariri officially endorsed him for the country's top post. Aoun, the Free Patriotic Movement founder, is also backed by Hezbollah, the Lebanese forces, and several March 8 lawmakers. Berri, however, explicitly said he will not vote for Aoun. Parliament's 46th attempt to elect a new head of state is scheduled for October 31st, which could see Aoun become president if he secures enough votes. Heavy clashes have erupted between regime and rebel forces in Syria's divided city of Aleppo after a unilateral ceasefire announced by Russia expired. The first Syrian or Russian airstrikes on Aleppo hit a key front line in the city's southwest. Ground clashes and shelling, which had continued throughout the day on front lines, intensified. The pause began on Thursday and came after Russia announced a temporary halt to Syrian army's campaign to recapture the divided city. Coming up next, AT&T unveils a mega deal for Time Warner. More details after the break. Welcome back. Tension is high in the Iraqi town of Bashika near Mosul as Peshmerga soldiers from Iraq's Kurdistan regional government begin an offensive to recapture it as part of a major operation to clear ISIL fighters from the country. Turkey has at least 500 troops stationed in a camp near Bashika, only 15 kilometers away from the latest offensive, training thousands of Kurdish and Iraqi soldiers for the battle to recapture Iraq's second largest city from ISIL. Turkey wants to take part in the battle, but Iraq has repeatedly declined the offer and called for the withdrawal of the Turkish soldiers from Bashika. Pope Francis has appealed for peace in Iraq, saying the violence in the country has left him speechless. Conducting his weekly Angelus prayer from the window of the papal apartments overlooking St. Peter's Square, Francis said his thoughts were particularly with the inhabitants of Mosul. I was saddened to hear the news of the killing in cold blood of the numerous sons and daughters of that beloved land, among them many children. This cruelty makes us cry, it leaves us speechless, Francis added, before asking the large crowds in the square to join him in a silent prayer as he recited the Ave Maria. Moving on to Japan, several explosions went off in 2 locations near a park in the city of Utsunomiya, killing 1 person and injuring 3. Images on local television showed 2 burnt-out cars in a parking lot about 200 kilometers from the park where folk art festival was underway. The cause of the blast was not known, and the festival was immediately cancelled in the aftermath. More than 170 inmates of a northern prison in Haiti have escaped after killing a guard and stealing firearms, according to authorities engaged in a manhunt with support from UN peacekeepers. The jailbreak reportedly occurred on Saturday in Arcahé, a coastal town about 50 kilometers north of Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince. Police in the Caribbean nation have set up checkpoints on roads leading from the jail and detained several people without identity cards. 11 inmates were caught during the jailbreak, which happened when some prisoners were released into a relatively less secure area for bathing. AT&T has unveiled a mega deal for Time Warner that would transform the telecom giant into a media entertainment powerhouse positioned for a sector facing major technology changes. The stock and cash deal approved on Saturday is valued at $108.7 billion, including debt, and gives a value of $84.5 billion to Time Warner. It would give the big U.S. telecom firm the world's best premium content with the networks to deliver it to every screen, however customers wanted, a statement from the company said. Randall Stevenson, AT&T chairman and chief executive, said, quote, "This is a perfect match of 2 companies with complementary strengths who can bring a fresh approach to how the media and communications industry works for customers, content creators, distributors, and advertisers." Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton has criticized her rival Donald Trump's stance about the November 8th election being rigged at a campaign event in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Trump suggested he might not accept the election result if Clinton wins the election, called her a nasty woman, and repeated hardline conservative positions on issues such as abortion and immigration.
Donald Trump did something the other night no other presidential nominee has ever done of either party. He refused to say that he would respect the results of this election. Now, make no mistake about this, my friends. He is threatening our democracy. Look, I've lost elections. You don't feel very good the next day, believe me. But we know in our country the difference between leadership and dictatorship, right? You know, the peaceful transition of power is one of those things that sets us apart. And whether you support me or you support my opponent, together we must show that we support American democracy. And I believe both Donald Trump and I should be grateful for the opportunities that our country has given us. And the best way to demonstrate that we support our democracy is to turn out and vote.
American pop star Miley Cyrus hit the campaign trail to rally support for the Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton among George Mason University students in Virginia. Cyrus went from door to door at the university dormitory, encouraging students to vote for Clinton. Similarly, pop star Katy Perry has encouraged students in Las Vegas to do the same. Have a look.
Like an American flag? No, I'm just feeling free. But because
you're not afraid.
Okay, cool. I'm here supporting Hillary and Tim Kaine. What do y'all think about the election? You excited to vote? It's really fun for me to go around. I'm meeting so many people today and don't know where anybody is. Thanks for having me. I'll see y'all soon. All right. Next, here we go. And everyone gets stuck on like kind of voting for her out of fear of what could be. It's like I would vote for her anyway. They're like, I call them parent parrots that just say whatever they've heard from like, and then they're people that live on different planets and speak different languages because our realities are so different.
With our staff mortality, and yeah, just
Here we go.
HRC.
Mom,
You ready?
all right. Uh-oh. I'm in trouble. It's room service. There's no room service here.
Hello.
Your room is so cute.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry to come in with like all these people also, but...
This is an election that counts more than ever. I think it's the most important election. I think that there are a lot of things that are at stake, right? And I love all the things about Hillary. There are some that I love in particular. First of all, she's fighting for the opportunity to go to college and not be paying off it for the rest of your life. I didn't really get to go to college. I didn't really get to go to high school, but I think I'm going to be okay. But for those of you guys that are in college, you don't want to be working the rest of your life. You want to aspire to something else, correct? Yeah, you want to save for something else, right? That's right. So she's going to help us do that. And then, you know, you can marry who you love, right? If you're into that marrying thing, you know, whatever that is, it's great. But you can do it with her. And then you know what? What's really important to me is, I don't know about you, but like, I don't really want anyone else messing with my body or telling me what to do with my body. These are my tubes, not yours. That's right, we should be making decisions of our own on our bodies. We should not be letting the government do that.
This marks the end of our bulletin for today. Now for a quick recap of our top stories. Beirut Mayor Jamal Haitani says work is underway to start removing trash which has piled up on the streets for days following a strike by Suclean workers. Thousands of volunteers take part in a cleanup campaign along the Litani River in an effort to help depollute the river. And tension is high in the Iraqi town of Bashika near Mosul as Peshmerga soldiers from Iraq's Kurdistan regional government begin an offensive to recapture it. Those are your top stories for this Sunday. I'm Linda Tamimina. Thank you all for watching.